All right, so today is the first day of December of the last month of maybe the worst year ever in the history of humanity. But that being said, it's still 2020, and today we're going to learn about the biggest religion in India, and that is Hinduism. All right, um, we talked about this idea yesterday for the do now. Why would a society mandate those of a lower class or caste be obedient to the upper? And how could the upper class do so without them seeming to be the ones in control? And the idea is that if you blame it or assign that requirement to a higher power, you can get away with it, right? And so we're going to see that the upper castes in India say that it's the religion, it's Hinduism, or what will become Hinduism, is asking for such obedience, is asking for these things. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on today is this religion and all that kinds of good stuff. Okay, so some key terms, and they are mostly religious based, are pantheism, polytheism, dharma, reincarnation, and karma. Right? Pantheism is a belief that God can be identified with the universe or that God shows himself in the universe as a whole. All right. Not so much that God is a creator of the universe. I know this is a little delicate and it's a little hard to understand. But just know that it's this notion that God is kind of everywhere, though he may not have created everything. Polytheism is the belief in many gods. We've talked about that before. We've touched on that. And the opposite of that being monotheism, the belief of a singular God. Dharma is a way of life, the way of acting. Reincarnation, a cycle of a soul's rebirth after death. Buddhists believe in reincarnation. We have also talked about that idea. And karma, it's the total good and bad of a person's life. I kind of call it the scoreboard of your life at the end of it. All right. So where is Hinduism from? It can trace its roots back to the Indian subcontinent. It is still the dominant religion in this area, and it's spread throughout that area. When it's really hard to knock an exact date down. We can do so with many of the other world religions, not so with Hinduism because it is a blending of so many belief systems, right? Though we can roughly, if we were to kind of try to give it an exact date, and which would not be perfect and would not satisfy all those requirements, but if we were to just kind of pick a date, we would say right around the year zero. So Hinduism is a little over 2,000 years old, roughly. Who is important in Hinduism? Well, it's hard to knock that point down too, and that's simply because it is a blend of so many belief systems. It is a blend of monotheism, polytheism, pantheism, as well as local cultures and traditions. Gods or spirits are worshipped that are worshipped vary from person to person. So, some of the gods that may be important to you if you're a Hindu may not be very important to me if I was a Hindu, vice versa. Though there are kind of three big gods that appear quite commonly and are quite venerated or respected. And those are Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. Vishnu is the supreme being, Brahma is the god of creation, and Shiva the destroyer of evil. All right. How does Hinduism work? It has kind of three main themes: the social structure, and that would be the caste system, right? Keeping people in their lane, as we said yesterday in class. Reincarnation, the idea that the soul will be reborn after death. If once again, if you are good within your caste, right, you will be reincarnated to a higher caste. You will be reborn into a higher caste. And karma, which is kind of like the scoreboard at the end that determines whether you were good or bad in your caste. Right? There is no singular book in Hinduism. However, there are the Vedas, and these are ancient writings, and they're the oldest writings that exist in Hinduism. And they kind of tell the features, the culture, the stories of the gods, the local beliefs. Right? Reincarnation, and we've talked about this before. If you follow the duties of your caste well, you will be reincarnated to a higher caste. If you do not, you will drop a caste. The ultimate goal is to reach a point known as moksha, and moksha is the release from the cycle. Remember, this is a way to keep people aligned, to make sure that people are not threatening the upper caste, and that people can maintain their power. That's why Hinduism was so heavily advocated for by the upper castes of India. There are many variations of Hinduism, and because of that, there's different understandings of what karma actually is. But roughly, it is, once again, going back to this, being good at your caste. It creates a series of actions and reactions, right? So once again, you do something bad now. When you're reincarnated, you may not come back as a higher caste, those kinds of ideas. Right, Hinduism today, there's approximately 1 billion Hindus in the world, making it the third largest religion behind only Christianity and Islam. It is mainly practiced in South Asia, especially in India. Like I said, different gods are worshipped, and because of that, there are many varieties of temples, different temples with different focuses. Here's a temple on the left, by the way. You can see how elaborate they can be. They're quite colorful. This is quite huge, by the way. You can see this the size of a single regular doorway. And the most important holiday is Diwali, maybe the most well known. It's the festival of lights, often celebrated by colors. Temples can be very ornate, very beautiful. Here's an example. Here's another example of different details from the temple. I took these in the country of Singapore. You can see the very lifelike sculptures. These are quite large, by the way, on top of the building. Followers, adherents following or celebrating Diwali. All right. So that's pretty much it. Just a little introduction to Hinduism. All right. You have some readings on it, some readings on the lower castes in India. And that's all I got for you. Have a great day.